Well, as stated on fucking Instagram, dude, I don't know whether I should be pissed off or happy right now. You know, it's always upsetting when you don't know exactly what's going on with your car when you're having problems. But then when you see what could potentially be the cause of the problem be such a simple thing, you kick yourself in the ass. Like I was talking about the other day, I'm not sure. I don't think I made a YouTube video for it. I think it was something I talked about on Instagram. But so the car shut off on me after I'd been doing completely fine. Like I went on some runs, so went to AutoZone. It was running fine. I came back. It was doing fine. I went to go to leave to take my wife to go somewhere, and the car started bogging. I turned around, went and started to go back home. Passed my house, went to the next block, and the car shut off. You know, I'm not 100% sure if the map sensor coming unplugged will cause that complete loss of power like that. I mean, I would expect it to run bad, but not completely shit. But then again, once you start modifying cars and fucking with the ECM or the ECU and whatnot, it's hard to tell. Like, I'm not a fucking tuner. Somebody else does that part. I just put these things together and work on the rest of the car. So anyway, what happened was, one of those 2 steps forward, 2 steps back type shit for me. I just changed the calipers on the front calipers, and I went to go do the back. And of course, I was getting ready to jack up the back. Before I jacked it up, I was like, let me just break the lugs, break the lugs loose, because these were done. The wheels were all tightened up with an air impact. So anyway, my stupid ass put my little ratchet on there. It's my favorite ratchet, as a matter of fact, that I've owned for like a decade. And the shit snapped. I'm a fucking idiot. So I was like, well, should I just go buy, a deep socket fucking 17, because these are set. These lug nuts are set where you can't just use a shorty. I was starting to round it off in the back, so I need a deep socket, or buy another ratchet. I don't know. So I was like, well, if I buy a socket, then I can use my wrenches to do the brake calipers. Not that many bolts. It's not that crazy. But I'm pinching fucking pennies right now, so I'm like, well, you know what? I have the tools at work. Let me just wait till I go to work. The way I work in this heat out here is rare that I come out and do shit anyway. So I'm like, let me just take my W with getting the front brake calipers done. I guess I can show you the calipers real quick. And I think this one's not even as bad as the other one was, but you can definitely see that. Yeah, this one's not even as bad. I'm gonna show you the other one. You can see that this fucking shit ate the fuck up with rust. It's ate the fuck up pretty bad. So yeah, there's no wonder why that shit was dragging. It's cars from the owner that I got it from lived in New York, and he drove it down from New York, and you can definitely tell the fucking undercarriage is all rusted the fuck up. Anyway, so I bricked the fucking shit, and I was like, well, let me just take another look under the hood, because the starter needs to be replaced too. So let me take a look at how I'm going to do the starter. And I'm looking over at the alternator, because it looks like the easiest way for me to get at that top bolt for the starter is going to be to take out the fucking alternator and then go from there, go with a long extension across. And then I was debating on whether I should attempt to start fucking with this. I'm like, no, because if I do the rear calipers, then I can push start the car. Once I can actually roll the car, I can push it, and I don't need to start to get it started. I'm more concerned with how the car runs versus being able to start it with the actual starter or whatnot. And I can't roll the car with the caliper seized up. Although I am tempted to test it again now that I changed the front calipers. I'm like, well, if the front calipers are changed, at least that's half less resistance. But anyway, so I'm looking at the alternator, and I look up and I see the fucking map sensor is unplugged, and I'm like, oh Jesus Christ! The car can't read how much air it's getting. No wonder why I was fucking being stupid and bogging and shutting down. And it seems like the top of the fucking plug just snapped. I don't know. So that's a whole nother issue to deal with later on. But I feel pretty comfortable saying that was an issue there. And the starter is just bad timing. The car sat for a real long time. Like, I don't know how long the guy I bought it from, he owned the car. I don't know how long he owned the car. I don't know how often he used it or whatnot. I know that when I pulled the engine apart, that it was on its last legs. There was a lot of fucking main bearing material in the oil pan, and it's just like me bringing this car back to life. Pretty much, it was running and driving. I've never felt safe in this fucking car. That plane's mad annoying. Anyway, I haven't got to the point where I've driven this car and felt safe in it yet. So, I guess this is kind of like my similar situation when I was having like the little smoke issue with the turbo. You can see that this back section of the hood used to have insulation on it, and that insulation was touching the fucking turbine housing, and it was burning up, causing a little bit of smoke to puff up here. So the last time I drove this car, I was feeling awesome because I'm like, I got that shit taken care of. That was the source of the smoke. So I'm like, it's not smoking anymore. Now I just got to, get the car to drive in a straight line properly, and, I can finally get it tuned. And then the whole shit where the car bogged and shut down, and then the brakes were sticking and dragging and shit. So I'm like, well, it seems like every time I do something to knock out something on this car to get it closer to being able to tune, I have to do other things, got a new battery and shit, right? Because the last major things I had was like it was smoking a little bit and it wouldn't start on a cold start. I'd replaced the battery, got the insulation out. It was starting with no problems, and it wasn't smoking anymore. Car shut down. So the car shut down. I didn't know what caused the car to shut off. The starter took a shit, so I couldn't get the thing to turn over. And then the brakes were dragging, so I had to have it towed even though I was only a block away. So I got the front 2 calipers done. I just need to do the rears. It seems like that map sensor may be playing a large part in why I was losing power. And now I just got to do the starter. That's going to be like, I got to do the starter in the rear calipers. The rear calipers shouldn't take me too long. It's honestly going to be probably the starter that I get hung up on a little bit. And it's the thing is, because it's so fucking hot in South Florida, man, it's hard for me to get up here and get out here and start working on the car. But because of the fact that I think I may know what caused my power loss issue, that's a little bit more motivation to get actually out here and suffer the heat. I know that once I actually get in motion, I start doing things, like it's easier. It becomes a lot easier for me to actually finish what I'm doing. It doesn't look like it's going to be crazy difficult for me to get the starter out. Like I figure what I'm going to do is get the belt off, get the alternator out. If I need to, I can take off the intercooler piping to get a better shot at it. And then I guess I'm probably going to have to come in from the bottom of the car to get the bottom bolt out or whatnot. But what I'm most likely going to do next weekend is do the rear calipers, give it a little test push to see how easy or difficult it is to roll the car once all the calipers are replaced. If I can do that, then if I can roll the car, pretty, decently smooth, then I'll see if I can manage to power it over the ledge and get it onto the road. I'll probably try to do a push start and just to get the car running again. And then once the car turns back on, if I can get the car to turn back on, then I'll probably sit on it for another weekend and do the start of the following up weekend. Because if I can get the car to run again, and that really was my issue, if that's really the reason why I was bogging out like that, then I don't feel rushed. I just, I feel kind of hopeless with this car, where every time I do something else happens. But if I can get the car where it runs again, and I know that all I got to do is just change the starter out, then I'll get back to it within a week or so. Right now, funds are too tight for me to do anything anyway. So even if I get the car running and driving again, I still, despite the fact that brakes were dragging and that may have caused a little bit of issue with the way this car was driving straight, coming off the power or whatnot, but I still probably should get an alignment done, regardless. And then I gotta get a tune. And at this point, my backup funds I had to do that are now gone. So business is slowed down. I don't imagine it's going to pick back up now. The fact we're going to be moving into the major holidays now with the schools getting back in. We got Thanksgiving and Black Friday and shit coming up, and then Christmas is right around the corner. So there's a good chance that I might not make any more money this year. With the way the first half of the year went, I would imagine that the money being tied up in people's accounts for the last half, that I would be surprised if I saw anything major come through. But if I don't see any more engine builds or whatnot come through, then I don't have any extra money to put in this. As a matter of fact, honestly, the way things are right now with me, I'm so fucking tight that if I do get a major job, that money needs to go to the bank account anyway, just to keep everything running smooth in the household, So it's a sad thing to think that we're so close to being 100% done with this car that now we're I'm at a dead standstill again, and there's 100% a possibility that this car doesn't even see the road again this year. Which is, it's crazy to me to think that, but it's just the reality of the fact that the matter is, like I said, I'll swap out the brake calipers next weekend, see if I can push start the car. If I can't push start the car, swap out the starter, see if I can get the car started. If I can get the car to start and run and drive again, then it's probably going to just sit, I might take it around the neighborhood a little bit, but it's probably going to, not going to see it again. I haven't given up all hope though. I wanted to get this car dynoed properly, get the numbers off of it. Hopefully I can get a little bit of return with some advertising done on this, and hopefully things turn around where I can actually afford to take the car out and drive it without issues, and then see how things go in the future. All right, guys, got some more content coming today. I got some other things planned. I figured, I'd talk about this while I'm standing in front of it and thinking about it. So, all right, talk to you guys later.